I think all of you recently, heard about um, uh, employment in Qatar, and because of Viva World Cup and some comments, has have been published in the worldwide newspaper, something like this. But recently, Qatar has adopted, local labor law and immigration law, which this is more developed system to protect the rights of all working forces in Qatar. Real estate or property in Qatar. Actually, for example, 6 or 7 years ago, it's not allowed to any foreigners to own 100% a property in Qatar. But recently, there are some certain places in which you can buy your property and own it 100%. And you can get visa for 10 years. Like, for example, the Pearl, West Bay Lagoon, and the Khor Resort. The foreign investment law allow foreigners to enter into long-term leases of land allocated. So if you are in Qatar, for example, and bought apartment in Qatar, and you wanted to have like long-term leases for some other lands or something like this, you can do this. And
Mr.
also
Ravi,
you can, yes,
Mr. Ravi,
yes.
what are the companies what are Malaysian companies are currently operating in Qatar, and is there any Malaysian brand available in Qatar?
Yes, 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 Mr. Mansour. Actually, there are many Malaysian companies here working in Qatar, like Eversunday, Muhiba, WCT, Malaysia Airports Consultancy Services, UEM, Sim Darby, Holiday Villa, Babaruti, Royal Pavilion, Snips Hair and Beauty Salon, Vinci, UC Mass, Proton Qatar, also Newt Energy and Item, Board Sales Energy, Spectra Solution, Masarif, Infinity Blockchain, Royal Serangor, and the Royal Serangor is in partnership with Qatar Museum Authority, Clayton, Ali Cafe, F&N, and Julius.
All right.
The value of construction projects accomplished by the Malaysian companies from 2000 to 2020 has exceeded 8 billion US dollar. There are some Malaysian companies trying to expand their activity in Qatar at the current time, such Muhiba, Malaysia Airports Consultancy, and the Holiday Villa. Recently, Buni Malaysia has signed an agreement, and they will have their own shop in city center in Qatar.
Okay. All right. I think, Mr. Rami, we give the opportunity to Mr. Amadur to say a few
Yes.
words. Huh? Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Rami.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr.
Mansour. I
Amadur.
appreciate. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum and very good morning, everyone. I think it's still morning in Malaysia. Well, let me introduce myself. My name is Ahmad. I am with the Madrid Dubai office for almost 25 years, probably older than some of the students here. Well, okay, I think Mr. Mansour has given a very comprehensive kind of a presentation, so which covered a lot of the things that you know I need to cover as well. I think thanks to Mr. Mansour and also my colleague there in Qatar, Mr. Rami, has brought up some very interesting points. Thank you for organizing this this session. I'll just quickly say a few points on the strategies for analyzing and entering foreign market, and this is with a little bit of Middle East perspective. I'm trying to. All right, this is the map of Middle East. Basically, Middle East is it's a political grouping, not so much economic grouping as such, because the countries, as you can see here, they are very diverse economically and even geographically. There is not much similarity in terms of language or sources of income and those things. So I will sort of narrow down the
Ahmad, sorry to
region.
interrupt. Mr. Ahmad, maybe you can
Yeah.
enlarge it, zoom, full view.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
Okay, is that better? I think. Okay, hopefully that's a little bit better. Okay, that's where we are based in the UAE, and this is the region that we cover basically from Dubai. 7 countries: Oman, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, Iran, and Iraq. So that's a total population of around 150 million. The biggest one is Iran, 83 million, Iraq, 40 million, and then UAE, 99.8 million, followed by other smaller countries, Bahrain, Qatar. They are pretty small in terms of population. Okay, I will just basically there are many reasons. I think some of the reasons Mr. Mansour also mentioned why you would want to go into a foreign market to look for better revenue, a bigger market. So the benefits can be many. I will go over that a little bit later. Let's talk about some of the steps that you need to follow. The first one is you have to actually understand the market. By understanding the market, you need to evaluate the market in terms of the potential. So, what is the market size? What is the population? What do what is the demographics like? You need to analyze all those factors. Second, you need to also understand the competition. Who are the countries who are exporting there? What is the the prices? You need to compare all those aspects before you can go into a market. You need to also understand the legal and political environment. What is the political structure? Because there is a lot of legal implication when you are trying to export some products there. Let's say, if you're trying to export food products, you need to understand, implications of exporting products such as, let's say, halal products or non-halal products, or sometimes a lot of the products could be banned, so you need to understand all those. Local culture is also very important. You need to study the the culture, the religion, of the majority people in that country, because a lot of the factors will depend on that. There are gaps in the market that you need to understand, because there are products that you are trying to export. Many other countries are also exporting, but there is always a niche that you need to. So once you study the market, then you will understand those niche areas, and then you can see where you can position yourself. So talking about the Middle East region, basically, I think some of these my colleague has mentioned. These are some of the countries that we are focusing on from Dubai office. So as you can see, most of these countries, they have very high GDP because most of them are oil exporting countries. UAE, Kuwait, Qatar. Qatar is one of the highest per capita GDP. All the other countries as well, they have very high per capita GDP. So when you are exporting to these countries, you should, consider these facts. Although the population may be small, but they are very affluent. They have the purchasing power. These countries also have very low import duty, between 0 to 5%, which is a plus point when you're trying to export to this market. There are also no personal or corporate income tax, which is also a plus point. Most of these countries depend on imports, so they don't impose too much restrictions on imports. And some of these countries, let's say UAE, which is like the hub for the Middle East, they import almost 70% of the product for the Middle East. So they cover a huge market in this region. So if you are exporting your products to UAE, your products are also having access to many other markets in the region. So that is a good opportunity, actually. In the second step, once you understand the market, you also need to evaluate the cost, benefit, and the risks involved in going into overseas market. When I say cost, I mean that both direct and opportunity cost. Direct cost is, as you understand, the cost involved in going into a market. But at the same time, there is also opportunity cost. You could be spending that money to learn about some other markets, or trying to promote in some other markets. So you need to understand that opportunity cost as well. As I mentioned earlier, benefits can be many. It's the profit that you make from the new market. Sometimes it's because of lower manufacturing costs that you want to go into some other markets. Also sometimes to access new technology or access to raw materials. Like if you are setting up a company here, the cost of energy is low. The cost of some of the raw materials also is very low. So that could be some of the reasons why you want to venture into these markets. Let me quickly go over some of the opportunities you have in the GCC markets. So basically, for both products and services, there is a lot of opportunities in different areas. If you're talking about food, Malaysia exports almost $150 million worth of food stuff to this market. Mostly ready-to-eat food, frozen confectionery, beverage. We also export a lot of building materials, electronic products. That's also another of our major exports to this market. There's also a lot of demand for automotive parts, components. We export a lot of rubber parts, especially, and replacement parts like brake shoes and things like that. In the services side, there is also a lot of opportunity for healthcare and wellness products. We export a lot of rubber gloves and other medical equipment, disposables to this market. There is also demand for facilities management because there's a lot of buildings that are coming up here, and they need servicing. We already have a few companies from Malaysia who are doing facilities management here. Franchise sector also, there is a huge opportunity. We already have a few Malaysian franchises operating here, like Mary Brown, like Papa Roti, like then again in the ICT sector also there is